Did I go see Harry Styles at Wembley? Yes, I did. Is this now a Harry Styles fan channel? Potentially. It might be. To be confirmed. But apparently not everyone is quite as enamoured with Harry. He's been accused of queerbaiting and also not doing enough to use his male and white privilege to support the underrepresented and marginalised communities that he claims to care about. So basically he's kind of like the social equivalent of Marmite at the moment, if Marmite had like a mile-long queue of people waiting to marry it, you know? So let's talk about it. I'm Shara, and on this channel we tackle spicy topics like feminism and sustainability with a little bit of a sprinkle of philosophy. And yes, I did recently experience the incredible event that was Harry Styles performing at Wembley Stadium. And afterwards, as we were trying to work our way around the sea of feather boas and pink cowboy hats, all waiting for the tube, we got to talking about what it is exactly about Harry that is so attractive to so many people. Why is it that people are absolutely fawning over him? Yes, there's a fact that like he's good looking and he makes great music, but there's a lot more to it than that. And in this video, I'm going deeper into that conversation with you. So firstly, why Harry? So Harry Styles, previously of course of One Direction fame, has recently in the last few years become quite the style icon, notably scoring this Vogue cover which made the internet go totally crazy. And despite the fact that he has consistently refused to label his own sexuality, he's created a really welcoming space for LGBTQ plus communities. He regularly emphasizes that he wants everyone to be whoever they want to be at his shows. Musically, he has a casual 66 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and that puts him at the 15th top artist in the world. And recently he's also proven himself to be a talented actor, starring in films like Don't Worry Darling and My Policeman. So he's a really interesting person to talk about because of this massive effect that he is having on shaping pop culture right now. And the way that different types of people respond to him and what he kind of represents for different groups of people says a lot about where we are right now culturally as a society. I really don't want to be part of this whole speculating about celebrities' private lives gossip machine, so this is not a video about what Harry Styles' sexuality is, but I do genuinely think that there is some value in talking about how Harry Styles has become the cultural force that he is, or people like Harry Styles, what they represent for us right now. For clarity, I do not support fans who are pressuring celebrities who are unlabeled like Harry to come out as this or that. To anyone who thinks that it is their right to know these private details about someone else's life who they've never met and will probably never meet, to you I say knock it off and get a life. To anyone who is fed up with toxic masculinity, including but definitely not limited to straight women, Harry has embodied this idea that you don't need to be a man in what that has traditionally meant. You don't need to do the things that have traditionally been classed as masculine or manly, i.e. being aggressive, never showing any weakness, never showing any emotion, and even wearing men's clothing. Harry publicly and openly talks about things like going to therapy and meditating, which are things that women are more and more looking for in a partner because it shows that you're empathetic, it shows that you can communicate, it shows that you are able to express your feelings, which is likely to lead to a much healthier relationship. Harry's also stood up for and made comments about Black Lives Matter, about gay rights, about women's rights, about gun control in the US, all these things that are to do with other groups of people. And I hope this doesn't come as a surprise, but women do tend to find it quite attractive when someone cares about someone that isn't exactly like them. Shocking, right? Absolutely radical. Of course, tied into this whole conversation and the thing that a lot of people talk about when it comes to Harry is how he dresses on the cover of magazines and at his shows, the fact that he paints his nails, or the fact that he wears earrings, all these things that are considered traditionally feminine. When he's been asked why he does things like this, it's really not surprising that he's basically just said that he likes to make things, he likes to be creative. He doesn't see why fashion being labelled as men's or women's should get in the way of having fun with it and being playful with it. I'm gonna leave some really interesting quotes from interviews with Harry about gender and fashion, all of that in the description below if you want to check that out. But Harry Styles is not this big intentional statement against the patriarchy, which some people might initially assumed that it is. But it's important to say that that is what he represents for a lot of people because of the fact that he's willing to go against these gender norms to be authentically himself. Now, it goes without saying that the people who think that feminism has gone too far or that want to defend these traditional gender norms are not big Harry fans. They see him as representing this decline in masculinity or this massive threat to the manly man. Where's all the testosterone? What will we do if men start to be softer and show their emotions? Like, who's gonna lead countries? Who's gonna mow the lawn? Society will crumble without manly men. All, of course, beautifully encapsulated by this tweet from the conservative writer Candace Owens in response to Harry's Vogue cover. I think that there are definitely people who want Harry to come out as a straight man officially, because then that shows that what he is doing is actually breaking down these boundaries for what it means to be a straight man. Of course, if he's gay, then you can say, oh well, I told you so. Of course he's acting like that because he's gay, because that's how gay people act. That's not how straight people act, and the world is right again. But then on the flip side of that, that also means that men who want to wear more feminine clothes or want to go to therapy or, you know, talk about their feelings must be gay. By remaining unlabeled, a person refuses to box themselves into society's predetermined boxes, and that can lead to a lot of people being confused about how they should respond to them or what kind of judgment they should pass about them. So if you're the kind of person that has a certain set of beliefs about gay people and what they're like and how you respond to them, and you have a certain set of beliefs and expectations of what straight people are like and how you respond to them, and the same thing with what men are like and how you respond to men, and the same thing with what women are like and how you respond to women, then when you're confronted with someone like Harry Styles, it all gets a little bit confusing. And seeing people get into that position and like squirming, not really knowing how to understand another person because they don't fit into these boxes, is kind of beautiful. Dare I say, it is a sign of the times, a sign that our society is changing, and that's not a bad thing. And that brings us nicely onto the second part of the video, which is all about what Harry means for the LGBTQ+ community. There's been a lot of speculation that Harry is bisexual. Like I've said, what's contributed to this is the fact that he does wear this gender fluid clothing. And in our society, if you are a man and you're wearing clothes that are typically worn by women, then you must be queer. Even though across different cultures and across history, fashion has changed so much, and men used to wear things that women wear now, like heels. On a side note, this really shows how we've made some great strides in terms of it becoming more socially acceptable for women to do the things that men have only traditionally done, such as, you know, found their own companies, or to wear men's fashion, wear trousers, but we haven't actually given that freedom to men as well to do the things that women have traditionally done, such as be stay-at-home parents or to wear women's fashion like skirts or dresses. And this is why we need to look at patriarchy as a system that holds everyone back, not just women, but also men. But back to Harry. He's also made comments on stage such as, everyone's a little bit gay, aren't they? And also things about how all of his music is sparkly bi music.
Isn't all of this sparkly bi music?
And he's also done a cover of the song Girl Crush by Little Big Town, which has been quite controversial because it has these bisexual undertones. And also he has a massive fan favourite song which is unreleased called Medicine, in which he talks about being in relationships with both girls and boys. Harry's also, like I said, made his concerts really queer friendly. There's like rainbow flags everywhere. He regularly holds up pride flags, things like that. And he actually hosts these mini coming out ceremonies at his shows as well for some of his fans. And that's all great, but the fact that he has not identified himself as definitely part of that LGBT community by remaining unlabeled, and the fact that he has only publicly dated women has led to a lot of people accusing him of queerbaiting. So capitalizing on the things associated with the LGBTQ+ community without actually having to shoulder any of the consequences of identifying that way, which are for some people actually deadly. This article by the Harvard Crimson sums it up well by writing that that because the media has often tokenized queerness, the praise that Styles receives for his sense of style outside of the confines of the gender binary conveys the message that if you are white, straight-passing, famous, and conventionally attractive, then you can dress in a gender non-conforming way on the red carpet of an award show without worrying about becoming the next victim of a hate crime, as many queer or non-binary, especially black, gender non-conforming and transgender folk have to worry about in their day-to-day lives. Additionally, the black gay actor, writer, director, and singer Billy Porter has said in response to this pedestaling of Harry Styles, "I had to fight my entire life to get to the place where I could wear a dress to the Oscars. All he had to do is be white and straight." Some people also think that he kind of gave himself away as not being quite as close to the LGBTQ+ community as he has presented himself to be, when he made a comment about how gay cinema has not presented gay relationships with any kind of tenderness, which gay commentators have just said is completely false, which kind of reveals the fact that he doesn't completely seem to understand the lived experience of the people in that community. So some people would say that he's just putting on this act to become more relatable to that community, to which he has responded saying that, "Am I sprinkling in nuggets of sexual ambiguity to try and be more interesting? No." So maybe Harry isn't acting bi, maybe we just see his actions as presenting as bi because the things that he does are not seen as traditionally masculine, and something else that's not seen as traditionally masculine is being queer. So we conflate those two things. Bi or gay men have been positioned as the people in society that are men but act in a more feminine way. So we can't seem to fathom the idea that a straight man would behave that way but still remain very straight. And maybe that's the actual bigger problem, the fact that someone blurring these lines causes so much confusion and outright outrage. So men who are in this space where they want to be more in touch with this feminine side of themselves are in this really weird, confusing place. Harry has also said, "I want things to look a certain way, not because it makes me look gay or it makes me look straight or it makes me look bisexual, but because I think it looks cool. And more than that, I don't know, I just think sexuality is something that's fun." Honestly, I can't say I've given it any more thought than that. To some people, their reaction to that is, "Wow, that's so great, that's radical self-acceptance." But to others, it's just kind of dripping in privilege, the fact that he's not had to think about these things. And that's not a privilege that's afforded to everyone. We definitely need people who have privilege, whether it's white privilege or male privilege or able-bodied privilege, to be instrumental in creating safe spaces and a safe society for people who do not hold those privileges, people who are in black communities or who are in queer communities or who are disabled. Regardless of Harry's own sexuality and what you think about all of that, you can't take away from the fact that he has created this community that is based on kindness and acceptance. And maybe the fact that he is a straight white man has helped him to be able to get to the place where he can create that community and have that platform to be able to do that. So whilst I personally would say that the claims of queerbaiting are not quite fair because they reduce being bi or being straight to these pigeonholes of performative actions, I would say that people in positions like Harry's need to be aware that they have been given a platform that a lot of other people who are just as talented or just as deserving have not been given because of their lack of the same privileges. And so they need to actively pull those people up onto their platform and be vocal about the fact that they understand their position. To his credit, Harry has spoken about the fact that things like the Black Lives Matter protests have really opened his eyes to the fact that he wasn't doing enough. And similarly with women's rights issues, he said, "I can't begin to imagine how terrifying it is to be a woman in America at the moment."
On the other hand, in the same interview, when he was asked why he doesn't use his influence to direct people to specific causes more, he said, "To be honest, I'm still searching for that one thing, you know? Something I can really stand up for and get behind and be like, this is my life fight." Which again, sounds very much like something a white straight male artist can say much more easily than someone who was born into a life fight. It's a great privilege to be able to choose your own fight and not have it chosen for you from birth.
But what are your thoughts? I would love to hear what you think about queerbaiting, about allyship, about privilege, all these different things that we've been talking about in this video. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. It really helps me out. I'm off to listen to Harry's House for the 10,000th time. Stay kind, see you next time. Bye.